So I would love to do this editorial on NJ.com. The Second Amendment is a curse. I'd love to go through this whole thing and completely destroy it. But as you can see, this article on NJ.com, True Jersey, it's the True Jersey, yes. Yeah, it's behind a paywall. You can only read like the first 2 paragraphs of it. There's not even a proper byline. It just says, by Star Ledger Editorial Board. So brave. So, what we're gonna have to do is look at a couple of different links because I couldn't really find any place that had reposted it. Probably because of the paywall thing. But either way, I found a couple of different links that cover different aspects of it. I couldn't really find one that covered it all total, so we'll have to go to 2 different ones. So let's start with GunsAmerica.com. Let's see. The New Jersey Star Ledger Editorial Board blasts 2A as a curse. By the way, I don't know if you saw back on the, let's go back to NJ.com. You notice how it says the Second Amendment is a curse. They use the numeral 2. They couldn't even be bothered to write out second. So that's how they are. All right. Anyway, back to GunsAmerica.com. All right. New Jersey Star Ledger blasts it as a curse. Let's see. They say the Second Amendment is a curse, according to the editorial board of the New Jersey Star Ledger in an op-ed published on Tuesday. And they quote from the article, "Meanwhile, in America, we continue to bleed daily, with an average of more than 300 people shot every 24 hours, including 22 children and teens." Well, you know where that comes from, don't you? Yeah, that's where they, that's actually larger than I've seen. They usually say like 92. But I mean, yeah, they're including suicides. Yeah, they're including just any way they can inflate that statistic they can, so. What they're not saying, of course, is the number of people who use guns defensively. Gun owners successfully foil crimes in this country something like 4,000 times a day. And in most cases, the gun isn't even fired. They just brandish the gun and scare off the criminal. Notice that they didn't mention those statistics. And also, as GunsAmerica.com says, they didn't even break down these statistics to say what were those 300 and what were they counting. So, and also, remember, we've talked about this before. The CDC did the study on gun violence, but took down the statistics on self-defense because, again, they are not an organization of science. They're an organization of politics. So they talk about the June 2022 ruling from SCOTUS. They're talking about the Bruen decision. Makes it easier for anyone to bring lawsuits against the state for any attempt by the governor to sharply limit where guns can be carried in New Jersey. Aw, can the widow baby not infringe on our rights anymore? And the article says, where you have fewer guns and stricter laws, you have fewer gun injuries and deaths. Research has shown. Yeah, you gotta love that non-source. They just say, research has shown, studies shown, experts say, you know. Whereas we've actually gone over the numbers and no, that's not true. Look at, I've done this in several videos where I look at the Brady campaign. They rank all the states according to how good they think their gun control laws are, like California is at the top and Texas is towards the bottom or something. So you arrange them like that, and then you look at homicides, or you look at gun crime, or whatever, or you just look at what they call like the criminal's choice states, which are the ones with fewer gun laws, and then the I forget what they call it. They've got some weird way for what they're calling the safest states. They're gun control utopias, the ones that are the best. And you would expect that if what they were saying were true, then their nice states would all be on the low crime end and the criminal's choice states would all be on the high end. And they're not. They're just scattered all through at random. It just makes no difference at all. So yeah, you just say research has shown, and you don't say where you got the research or cite it or anything. Yet while most people are solidly on his side, the law may not withstand legal challenges. Yeah, because that's how our constitutional rights work. It doesn't matter if I am the only one who wants a gun, and every single other person around me says, oh, we don't think you should be able to have that gun. Second Amendment says I win. That's how rights work. And the editorial board suggests we use Canada as a model for gun control in the U.S. because Canada is just such a wonderful, peaceful place. The article says they have no Second Amendment, no constitutional right to gun ownership. Guns are treated the same as any other consumer good that the government can regulate. Yeah, because that's just working out so well for them, isn't it? So. Alright, further down. The editorial board argued that the Second Amendment is no longer applicable because gun violence is a public health and safety issue. Funny how that exception doesn't seem to be in my copy of the Constitution. No. Our rights are supposed to trump all of that. But the article says, the core rationale is that we need guns for self-defense, but what we have is a public policy in which nearly 49,000 people a year are killed by guns and nearly 400 million firearms flood our streets, more than one for every citizen. Okay, let's think about this. If, as they claim, the whole point of a gun is to kill a human being, then they're really bad at it, aren't they? More than one for every citizen and we're not all dead? 400 million firearms, but only 49,000 deaths. I haven't done the math. I should do the math on this. Hang on, let me grab the calculator, because this has got to be something like 49,000 deaths, and then 400 million firearms, divide 1,000 million, and I get this really low number, so we'll multiply by... That's 12.25 per 100,000. Yeah. Any other product should be that safe. Am I right? Yeah. Alright, so I think that's all this GunsAmerica.com has to say about it. Let's go over to Fox News. A major New Jersey paper called Second Amendment a Curse claims America has fetish with gun culture. We'll get there, but I'm going to skip most of this because it's what we already covered. And then some. The other article covers a bit more. But there is one part where the other article didn't cover it and Fox News did, so I'll just scroll down to that. The board further described this idea for guns for self-defense as a fanatical interpretation of our Second Amendment and claimed that the country has a fetish with gun culture. Okay, first of all, anything less than a fanatical interpretation of the Bill of Rights means infringement on our rights. I mean, they're doing this to kind of discredit it, but that's actually what you need. That's what our rights mean. It means, yes, we are fanatics about it because we don't allow exceptions. You know, that's not how rights work. And the country has a fetish with gun culture. It's amazing how, you know, you can look at the language and tell their mindset. We see this kind of thing, the fetish with guns, or like guns are a sex organ or something like that. Isn't it interesting that you can't really find any gun people talking about guns in that way? All this thing about, you know, the sexual terminology, that seems to be with the gun control side. Seems to be how they think about it. So, I mean, if you think about it, who's worse? Someone who thinks of their gun as a sex organ, or someone who wants to take everyone's sex organs away? Something to ponder. And going down further, just to this last bit. The board then pined for a country in which we could regulate guns as we do cars based on a public health approach. It compared America to Canada one last time, stating, now get this, now even Canada finds its level of carnage unpalatable and is embracing real change in 2023. If only we could summon the will to do the same, but no! On this side of the border, gun safety is just another broken resolution. But wait a minute, I thought you were saying earlier that Canada was this great utopia for this gun paradise because they banned all the guns and now no one has them. And now they're talking about its level of carnage? Didn't you guys just admit that Canada's gun control doesn't work and they need real change in 2023? That's how it is, folks. That's how it is. No matter how much of this you do, it will never be enough for them. And no matter how much they fail and fail and fail, they'll always say it's because we didn't do enough and we need to do more. So once again, don't listen to them when they try to say they're not going for a full-on gun ban, because they are. They'll just keep going and keep going and keep going and won't be satisfied with anything less. And I think that's really all there is to say on this, other than comments for the comment god, shares for the share throne. Please hit like, subscribe, and the bell, and go to donate.bogosity.tv to keep me doing what I do. Please go to Patreon and Subscribestar and subscribe to help keep me going. Thank you so very much. Until next time, stay strong and be free.